Are you one of those people when you're choosing to buy a house and you send a house to your real estate agent, you're like, hey, can you look into this for me? Well, what does the agent actually do? What do they actually look into when you send them a house? Well, in this week's video, I'm going to share with you the things that me personally that I look into when you send me a house. So stick around. Hey everyone, my name is Danae Hewitt and I'm your go-to DFW realtor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I help a lot of people relocate to the area and also purchase new construction homes. But if you're not interested in new construction homes, you would love to purchase a resale home and you send me some homes that you're interested in, let me tell you the things that I research in those homes so that you know all of that information before we actually go and visit the house in person. Because some of these things on the list might be deal breakers for you. So let's know that before we waste everybody's time and go see the houses. The first thing I look at is the private remarks. So those are agent to agent remarks that only real estate agents can see that has been entered into the MLS. And that information is not pushed out to third-party sites that you might be looking on, like Zillow and Realtor and things like that. So usually in that section, those are things that are specific to that property that the agent wants all other agents to know. And a lot of times it's buyer and buyer's agent to verify all information. Like literally, it's in like every single private remarks I see. But a lot of times it may state something in regards to how you need to show the house. Or it may state that all of these documents have been uploaded to the transaction desk. I'll get there in just a moment. Or it may be something like very specific about the house. Like let's say the seller is elderly and can't leave the house for all showings. So just extra things to know before we go and see the house. So of course that's going to depend on every single house that is put into the MLS, but that's definitely the first place that I start when I look at a home that you send me. The second thing I look at are the exclusions. These are going to be things you see in the home that are attached, but that the seller is not including with the sale of the home. You mean they're going to take the blinds? No, because that's in the contract that they cannot take the flooring, or the blinds. And you want to know why that's in the contract? Because obviously that happened in the state of Texas. Someone sold the house and took the blinds with them. Who does that? But anyways, that's a tangent. So what are the things that are attached that could possibly, stay and go? Think of it this way. If you were to turn that house upside down and shake it, all of the things that would fall, those are things that go with the seller. Furniture, things in the pantry, probably some of the wall decor that's hanging up, that would fall, all right? So the things that we're talking about that are attached to the house that the seller might want to take are things like TVs, that's attached to the house because it's attached to a mount, not going to fall off when you shake it. So those are things that we want to look at if the seller plans to take them with them. The curtains on a house, the curtain rods on a house, those are things that aren't going to come off. So are those staying or going? So those are things I will definitely let you know because again, it's specific to every single property entered into the MLS. The third thing is it in an HOA and how much is it on an annual basis? This might be surprising, but a lot of the HOA fees are actually billed on an annual basis. There are some communities I know in California that the HOA is a monthly fee and it's not even a condo. It's a single family community and the HOA fee is every month. We're not going to find that here in the Metroplex. Condo, very different. A condo, you're going to have a monthly HOA and that's just typical for condos. But single family, nope, it's going to be on an annual basis. So I want to know who that management company is because they're definitely hit and miss. That's just how they are. And then I also want to know what that HOA fee is because depending on the cost of it, it might be something that concerns you. Some of them I've seen them be over $1,000, but a lot of them we're going to see $600 and less, things like that. But it's just something to think about because you are going to be billed for it on an annual basis. And if there's something very specific that you want to do to the the house, like let's say you want to park your RV in the driveway, well, I'm going to reach out to that agent and say, hey, do you know in the CC&Rs if an RV is allowed to be parked in the driveway or not? Because if that's a deal breaker for you, then we need to know that before we go and see the house. So just some preliminary things to look at when we are looking at houses. If you like the information that I'm giving you right now, then please stick around. I've got 2 more points to give you. And give this video a like, subscribe to my channel. Any support I truly, truly appreciate in my growing YouTube channel. All right, let's move on to the next 2 things. I look at uploaded documents that have been put into what we call the transaction desk. So those documents are going to be different for every single property. Most properties should have a seller's disclosure up there, a survey if it's not a condo, that should be uploaded on there. So those are definitely the main 2 things that I look for. The other things that might be uploaded on there is, let's say the home had some foundation work done to it and the sellers have given the agent copies of the work, of the measurements before and after the work was done, of the transferable warranty, maybe that's going to be uploaded, or maybe the HVAC was just recently replaced. So the receipt for that is going to be uploaded. So I just want to see what information is uploaded on there. And sometimes there's nothing uploaded, which is super irritating. Okay. It's super irritating. like, please give us the information to this house, especially the seller's disclosure. And I'm going to get to that. Spoiler alert, that's going to be the last thing. But especially the seller's disclosure, we need to know what's in that thing. So I'd like to see what documents are in there so I can help give you more information. Like especially with the survey, I want to know the boundary lines. We want to make sure where any easements are, if there's any encroachments on the property. Let's know that before we go out and see it. Right? All right, the final thing, I've already spoiled it, but it's the seller's disclosure. And here are the main things that I look at on that seller's disclosure. The first is the roof. The seller can disclose to the best of their knowledge if they know the age of the roof. Well, here in Texas, roofs need to be replaced pretty frequently. 5 to 10 years, something like that. But when homes have roofs like 15 years and older, we're kind of going, maybe even 12 years and older, we're kind of going, ooh, how's that roof looking? I say this, I've seen some roofs that are 18 years old that are fine. The roofers have come back and said, no, there's no issues with this roof. Okay, well, that's surprising. Absolutely. Does it happen? Absolutely. But the majority of the time, because we have the hail, because we have the high temperatures and the cold temperatures and the winds, those shingles on the roofs, they just can't tolerate it for so long. Even though they're putting a 30-year shingle on the roof, it's not going to last 30 years, okay? So we want to know the age of the roof. The next thing we want to look at is if the sellers have filed any insurance claims on the house. All right, so they let us know if they have or not. And then the next part is if they have filed a claim, have received proceeds for the claim, and if they didn't use those proceeds to fix what they claimed to use it for, okay? Okay, so if they filed an insurance claim to get their roof replaced, but they got the money and didn't replace the roof, we need to know that, all right? So that's a big thing to look out for. If they filed any insurance claims and if they've used the money as they should have, like they said they would do. This next tip, I don't think a lot of agents know. It's something that I tell my home buyers is I look at the tax exemptions on the property because that affects you. If you go to purchase a house and you see that they have filed a veteran's disabled tax exemption on their property, that's actually going to cost you money when you go to purchase your house. Okay, so what does that mean? If a veteran has received any sort of disability from the VA, either it's 75%, 90%, or even 100% disabled, they're going to get a tax break in their property taxes. So let's just use the example that if a veteran is 100% disabled, they are not paying anything in property taxes. None. And they deserve it, okay? They absolutely 100% deserve it. They're not paying any property taxes. Okay, well, how does that affect me? So when you go to purchase the house, what the title company does is how they prorate is they say, okay, the sellers have been in this house for 6 months, and they're going to credit the buyer the amount of taxes that it costs them to live in the house for 6 months, because the buyers actually pay the tax bill in arrears from the previous year. What do you mean in arrears? Okay, so it's 2024. Right now, the tax bill that I'm due to pay is actually my 2023 taxes. So we pay them for the previous year. So when a buyer goes to purchase a house, they didn't live in the house for the entire year, all right? So the seller credits them that money so that they can pay the entire bill when the bill does come due. Now let's go back to what I said, that if a veteran is 100% disabled and they don't pay anything in property taxes, they also don't give you any money towards those prorated taxes. So that means if you purchase a house in November from a disabled veteran, you are going to be paying the entire tax bill for all 11 months that you didn't live in the property, and then the 12th month. You're pretty much responsible for that entire tax bill that is due in January. Now that's a one-time thing, but that's thousands of dollars. If the property taxes are $8,000 for the year and you only lived in the house for 2 months, then you're paying that entire tax bill for that 1 year. So that's just definitely something that I have talked to my first-time home buyers when they're looking at houses. I'm telling them if they're tight on money and they don't have a ton to spend up front on a house, I'm telling them, okay, this is a disabled veteran, especially if they're 100% disabled, we need to find that out, because they're not going to give you any money for taxes. Let's say if they're like 75% disabled, they're going to give you some money towards the taxes because they will be paying some property taxes, but it's at a much discounted rate. Did that one surprise you? Because it definitely surprised me when I learned that. And I love sharing all of this information. All right, did you learn something new? I think you might have. So if you did, let me know in the comments below. Definitely send this video out, share it with friends. But if you are looking to relocate or to purchase a home here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, please let me know. I would love to help you out. My contact information is in the description below. And that's it, y'all. I will see you next week.